Stan Gibilisco here, proprietor and operator of amateur radio station W1GV, Whiskey 1 Golf Victor, at your service. The date, May 19, 2014, the time 20:59 Zulu or 2:59 p.m. Mountain Daylight Time. In the Black Hills of South Dakota, listening to W1AW, finishing up a code practice session. They're just about ready to start their bulletin, I would imagine, and of course this is the 15-meter band. Let's listen on, well, there's my hand. Not hearing them on 28 megahertz. Well, maybe just barely detectable. There is the 18 megahertz band. Note the noise level here. Relatively low. Only about S3. That's pretty good. Let's tune away from them here and see. Oh, only about S2, and note the preamplifier is set for its maximum sensitivity on this IC746 Pro. 28 megahertz, even less, but 14 megahertz. Not only is W1AW not coming in very well, which is surprising because this antenna is optimized for 14 megahertz, but the noise is much worse. Now, I was reading just in this upcoming month's issue of QST having to do with Field Day 2014. A lot of stuff about that in there. My equipment in big number 8 is battery powered with a marine battery, which is it's entirely capable of operating portable for Field Day without having to run the vehicle. So it's perfectly good Field Day radio. In fact, I could go out to a remote location and get over this terrible noise problem. But I was reading in, I believe it's It Seems to Us by Dave Sumner, about multiple sources of human-made radio frequency interference and how it seems like a lot of these manufacturers are simply flouting the law. They're just not paying any attention to the FCC regulations. I mean, you know, and that in general to me is a very troubling trend of our times. Copyright infringement, violation of federal laws. It seems to me that if people have no respect for the law, and they should change the law if they don't like the law. I remember I met Jean-Michel Cousteau in Isla Mirada, Florida, at the Chica Lodge one time on Earth Day. I was doing an article for a magazine down there in Miami Beach, and he said very pointedly, when I asked him a question about violating the law in regards to environmental issues, he said, "I am against law breaking. If you don't like the law, you change the law." Well, these days it seems like if people don't like the law, they simply violate the law. And the result are phenomena like this. S9, S8 to S9 noise on my 20-meter receiver at home. Now, I can go out into the boondocks. You know, I can still get signals through this, though. I can still pull signals through this nonsense. Here's a demonstration of how... Now, I think that we radio hams aren't going to be able to do anything about this law breaking. The only thing we're going to be able to do is use our ingenuity to find ways to cope with this kind of thing. One way, this is a 500 hertz wide IF filter. We can narrow down the bandwidth and use digital signal processing in conjunction with spectrum analyzers to help us tune the radio to the center of these narrow pass bands. Like that. Now we can narrow it down to 100 hertz. Note the W1AW hits S9 here, but at this filter bandwidth the noise is S7. At this filter bandwidth only a little over S5. And here it goes down to S4. Now here's another experiment I'd like to show you. I'd like to tune in W1AW using the filters that I employ for phase shift keying. It's centered at a kind of an uncomfortably high pitch. But this is a 1500 hertz wide filter that I generally use for casual reception of phase shift keyed signals, but I can narrow it all the way down to 50 hertz if I find a signal that I want to zero in on. And that reduces the noise to just a little over S3, while W1AW will still come in at S9. Watch. So that, my fellow radio hams, and again, my beautiful fingers, for you to worship. No, don't do that. Don't worship anything. Worship no man. Worship only the Lord. And I'm serious. But more particularly, and don't worship the law either. But for crying out loud, it's nice if people obey the law, and the freebanders are another example. They are an awful lot of fun to listen to. Let's see if they're on. Check out the Chaos Band. Well, these aren't freebanders. These would be legal frequencies, but not legal power levels. I'm not hearing much up here suggesting that this part of the spectrum is not doing so well. Well, with that, I'll sign off. I've been talking enough and ranting enough about law breaking and things like that, but what we radio hams are going to have to do to contend with noise like that, what we're going to have to learn to do, I'm afraid, is use our technological ingenuity to beat these lawbreakers and get our signals through their crap. Anyway, Stan Gibilisco, proprietor and operator of W1GV, signing off. Until next time, 73, and so long.